Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, so today we're going to talk about ideal cuts and really what you guys need to know concerning ideal cut diamonds, how GIA and AGS define them, technologies that go into examining ideal cuts, and how we can scientifically observe this kind of information from data before we even get the diamond in our hands. So as many of you see, we publish asset results on our diamonds. In fact, our entire proprietary line of August Vintage diamonds and Distinctive, the two brands that we feature, August Vintage and Distinctive, our vintage line of ideal cuts and our modern faceted line of ideal cuts, are all optically designed by moi to have ideal optics. Okay? And it's funny because when I read on the forums, whether it's Reddit or PriceScope or any of the forums where people are always writing about diamonds, you see, why does my diamond not look the way I thought it would look? Why does my diamond look too dark? So what we're going to do is we're going to address these concerns. And I want to show you guys what GIA and AGS mean when they define a diamond as an ideal cut or as having ideal optics. So this is going to be an excellent video for you guys to watch, and a good practical observation video. So first of all, when we're talking about ideal cuts, if a website lists a diamond as being ideal, it does not mean it's necessarily ideal, okay? Or have excellent asset results. There are companies that do this, okay? They'll list diamonds as ideal cuts, and really AGS is the laboratory that they patented or copyrighted it, as far as my knowledge is concerned. And AGS has since merged with GIA. They used to be part of GIA for decades, and then they branched off in 1996. And then it was only about a year and a half ago that AGS merged back with GIA. So, and AGS and GIA are incorporating the asset technology into their analysis when you request, or when a manufacturer or a cutting firm requests an AGS ideal report. Most diamonds do not have this. Some rounds do. We have some rounds in our inventory that have the GIA combined with AGS reports, but most of them don't. Most of them on the market just don't, because a lot of diamonds don't make it. Okay, so number one, if somebody is claiming the diamond is an ideal cut, you either want to see a GIA report combined with the AGS report, or you want to at least see some asset results to demonstrate the superiority of the cut. We're going to have a video on asset results in a separate video. We have some stuff published on the internet already, but I want to show you guys what you need to look for and look at when you're looking at an ideal cut after you've purchased it. So here I am. I'm in my home environment. I'm in my backyard here, okay? And it is a typical cloudy day in New York. All right, here are the skies. Filled with clouds. Sun is not out. Sun is behind all the clouds. And when we're looking at an ideal cut, okay, we're going to be using a popular round ideal cut, round brilliant cut. It happens to be the precision of a hearts and arrows. GIA and AGS define this as, a lot of times step number one, a lot of people when they get a diamond, they hold it up like this. They're looking at it like they're trying to look for inclusions or whatever. And if you're trying to see if you could see inclusions with your human vision, that's fine. You can hold it up as close as you want to your eye. But if you're trying to see ideal optics this close, you're not. The simple reason, your head is blocking light that can enter the diamond. here's what happens when you take a round ideal cut and put it that close to your eye, or in this case, the camera. Now, you see how dark that looks? There's a lot of, you see some bright reflections of light, but you also see a lot of darkness under the table. That is not, this is not a good representation of an ideal cut. And if I, you know, holding it this close to the camera or your eye is not, you're blocking too much light. Watch when I pull that diamond back away from the camera. Look how much brighter it gets. And you're able to see, I'm zooming in now as I have the diamond pulled further away. And you're seeing more contrast, the bright and dark reflections. Okay. And the more you move it back, you know, GIA and AGS, when they're expecting you to look at an ideal cut, they're expecting you to look at it approximately 12 to 15 inches from your eyes, and in a good illuminated environment. All right. So right now I'm standing here with the sky up above behind me. There are some trees in the background here. I'll move over into a position where the trees aren't so much. But when I take an ideal cut diamond and hold it, I don't care whether it's a round or a cushion or whatever, and hold it about a half an arm's length, or 12 to 15 inches from the human eye, that's when I'm going to get that beautiful bright appearance of the facets within the diamond, and that's where I'm going to see good illumination. And when I'm holding it 12 to 15 inches, that's when I see that view, which is beautiful. Okay. Now, if you're asking how come every single facet doesn't light up, because there's still some head and body shadow here in the equation of what's being reflected into the crown of the diamond. An ideal cut diamonds are the best diamonds in the world for grabbing light from the surrounding environment and reflecting it back to the human eye. And this is what you're going to typically see in an ideal cut round brilliant. Okay, so this is quite normal. Now, number two. A lot of times people will stand in a room, or even if they're standing outside, and there's a wall behind them. Okay? Walls don't reflect light. And if they're dark, even worse. Okay? So even if you're holding a diamond at 12 to 15 inches away from your eyes and looking into the diamond, well, take a look. Okay, and now you see, once again, a lot of portions of the diamond look dark. Maybe not as dark as when I hold it up close to the camera lens, but certainly not as bright as what we saw earlier. Got it? So this is another. So here, if a person was looking at this, they're going to see. I know if I was a consumer and saw that, I would be like, okay, all right, this ain't all that in a bag of chips here. But it's because the wall behind me is not a source of illumination. It's not a good source of illumination. Okay? So, if you're trying to show off your ideal cut diamonds, don't stand in front of a wall that's blocking light. All right? Now, I'm just going to walk a little bit down in my yard here. And this is going to be back into a good area with good illumination. All right? So now here I am in the backyard, and look at all that open sky. Okay? Open sky is great for looking at ideal cuts. In fact, cloudy daylight really shows off the optics of brightness and contrast within an ideal cut diamond. And whenever we shoot video, we always show our clients in proper illumination. Okay, so you guys see what it is. What's a little advantage we have, you know, most places operate out of offices or stores, and they don't have the luxury of being able to run outside into natural daylight to shoot a video, whereas we do. So watch this. Okay, and this view is also similar to the view I was showing you earlier when I had good illumination behind me up on my little back deck there. Okay, so this is how an ideal cut round looks. Okay, and it's a hearts and arrows too. So a lot of times people look at hearts and arrows images and they think all the arrows are going to be dark while the rest of the diamond is going to be bright. Kind of like in an asset image. But that's not the case, because we live in an asymmetrical world. Illumination is not always evenly distributed. It's not a controlled environment like the asset test is done in. So there's always going to be facets that reflect back bright reflections of light and dark reflections of light. That's called positive contrast. Negative contrast would be if there was too many darks. Like, watch when I bring this thing close to the camera again. See how dark that gets? That's negative contrast. Stinky. So negative contrast is bad, and negative contrast a lot of the times is just due to diamonds that are not ideal cut. But look when I pull that away from the camera, and she goes bright again. Okay? And remember, I'm out here on a cloudy day in natural daylight. Very, very important. All right, now we're going to go into another type of lighting environment that really throws people off when they're looking at ideal cuts. Okay, another absolutely terrible place to try and look at ideal cuts. You know, and I was in retail jewelry for 30 years, you know, in a jewelry store. But the lighting in a jewelry store is the worst lighting to try and get an idea for how great a cut quality is. Why do I say this? Because 9 out of 10, or maybe even 9.9 out of 10 jewelry stores have spotlighting. LED spotlighting, okay, which makes jewelry look great, shiny, sparkly, and it makes all diamonds, even the worst cut diamonds, it'll bring out some sparkle in them. Okay, so LED lighting or spotlighting is not the best lighting to observe ideal optics in, and I'll show you why. Okay, right now, this is the lighting that we're looking at it right now. I have crazy, crazy spotlighting going on. So you're going to see mad fire and sparkle happening in this diamond. So let me just say this. Spotlighting is great if you're doing an apples for apples comparison of diamond and you're trying to compare fire and sparkle. That's fine. But look at the body of the diamond, how dark it gets. Okay? And the internet is filled, the forums are filled. Why does my ideal cut diamond look dark? Well, this is one reason here. You have your primary source of light is not diffused, but more smaller, intense sparkles. There's all different kinds of theories on why this optical phenomena happens, and some explanations sound better than others. But regardless of the explanation for it, it's an unavoidable fact that the body of your ideal cut is going to go dark in direct spotlighting environments. Okay? It's a fact of life. So if you want to show somebody fire and sparkle, bring them under spotlighting. You could bring a crappy diamond under spotlighting and it'll have fire and sparkle. This happens to be an ideal cut hearts and arrows, so it has the best fire and sparkle that a round brilliant cut can give. So I would say, boom, you know, if we're going to compare it, let's compare it to an ideal standard. But most of you guys out there just don't have that convenience to do that. All right. Now I'll show you something interesting because I'm here in my office under this LED lighting. By the way, a pretty similar phenomena happens in direct sunlight also. The body of the diamond can go dark, not all the time, but sometimes. But you'll see the intense fire come out of the diamond when the sun hits into the facets. Another thing with fire and sparkle, you know, we're looking through a through a monocular lens when I shoot this video, so it's almost like kind of looking at it with an eye patch on. There's a lot of fire and sparkle coming out of this diamond that the camera's not capturing. Okay, so all the little points of light that come in and out, you're seeing a lot of it here now, but there's even more, believe it or not. You'd see that, you know, if you're ever sitting in an airplane and the sun reflects in the window and you see a spray of color on the wall of the airplane, that's the amount of fire and sparkle that's actually coming out of the diamond. Our eyes, and especially a single lens camera, is only going to capture so much of that. Now watch this, watch this. When I take it away from the spotlighting, and now I'm standing in my office, which has, besides my Beatles poster, white, bright walls, and I have a couple of LEDs hanging out up there. Okay, they're out of focus right now, but I've got 4 LED lights and white, bright walls in my office, and look, when I hold the diamond an arm's length away, you know, at 12 to 15 inches away from my eyeballs and the camera lens, and look at how bright, now the diamond looks bright again. You see that? So, can you show off an ideal diamond in indoor atmospheres? Absolutely you can. Go into a place with white, neutral, or bright walls, and the body will go bright again. Okay, it isn't as bright as it was when we were outside in the diffuse light, but it's still not dark. Now, another thing I want to point out, see those strong flashes of light? You can see them in the 12 o'clock position, the 3 o'clock position. We're getting fire and sparkle in the round brilliant cut from those 4 little spotlights that I have above in my office. So my office happens to be a wonderful place to show off brightness, contrast, and even some fire and sparkle. Excuse me there. As we hold the diamond and look at it. See that? So when you see this phenomena, that's actually very beautiful. So your ideal cut diamond is going to look great in indoor environments as well as outdoor environments. You know, just, you know, you stand in a room with black walls or dark wooden walls, you know, darkness in, darkness out. A diamond, an ideal cut diamond, is going to be a diamond that most effectively reflects the environment and atmosphere that you are standing in when you're observing it. Okay? So, this is a beautiful view. Spotlighting is also a beautiful view too. When we were looking at that fire and sparkle before, it's just that don't expect to see this view under direct LED lighting. You got to know, you got to set your expectations right when you're looking at these things. All right? Let's see if I can find another atmosphere that's either good or bad. Okay, I wanted to see this view to see how it would capture on film because it's accurate to what I'm seeing with my eyes. Now you'll notice in this atmosphere, I'm standing in my living room which has light walls, not white, but light colored, not dark colored. All the lights are off. But look at the body of the diamond is bright, okay? So this, now we're looking at an ideal cut diamond in dim lighting, okay? And actually no lighting. There's no illumination in here except for what's coming in from that door. Otherwise, just my guitars here reflecting into the but the color of the walls, and you know, but this is no illumination. There we go. So even with no illumination in my living room, the facets light up and are bright because they're effectively reflecting in the reflections of the walls, okay? But you know, go outside in illumination, diffuse lighting, it'll be very, very bright, like we saw earlier. So here are the key takeaways from this. Is number one, an ideal cut diamond isn't always going to look how you think it's going to look in different lighting environments that you bring it into. You have to set your expectations proper. More than often, I see people taking, you know, when they comment of how bad an ideal cut diamond looks, my first question is, what lighting are you looking at it in? You know, how are you observing the diamond? You know, do you got a wall behind you? Are you looking in spotlighting? Are you looking in a dark room? You know, all these, are you holding it too close to your face? You know, these are all factors that go into properly viewing your ideal cut diamond. We discussed 4 different optical metrics here. We talked about brightness and contrast. Okay, that was the brightness was observing the brightness of the body of the diamond and the light that's reflecting off of the majority of the facets and outdoor lighting. And contrast being the observance of bright and dark reflections within the diamond properly distributed. Okay. Another good example of positive contrast would be a checkerboard. Okay, where you have black and white squares evenly distributed. You know, if I move that in front of somebody's face, it's actually very brilliant and bright. Proper distribution of bright and dark reflections is a good thing. It's called positive contrast in GIA and AGS's light performance metrics. Then we talked, so you got brightness and contrast, and we also talked about fire and sparkle. Fire and sparkle is what's observed under spotlighting environments like direct sunlight, LED lighting, and that's going to show off just how fiery and sparkly a diamond is. Remember, but bear in mind, you know, this is the lighting jewelry stores have, the grand majority of jewelry stores, and it can make crap look great. It can make it look very sparkly. So, a lot of times I get people, they send me an email, I just want something very sparkly. So I could put Gaga under spotlighting and it looks sparkly. So be careful with your words. But in any case, at Distinctive Gem, we are sticklers for showing. We don't just, we're not some faceless people behind an internet site here. We're out there in the public. My daughter and I shoot videos all the time. We're not hiding behind some wall of internet here. We're written about all over the place on Pricescope, Reddit, the Knot, the Wedding Bee. There's all different forums. I've been selling online since 1998, so I've got a few years. We hold patents in ideal cut diamonds. All the diamonds in our private reserve are all diamonds invented by myself and all designed around asset technology. That's the technology that GIA and AGS use to determine light performance. It's something you rarely see mentioned in lab reports, but light performance, and that's what we're all about. Diamonds are, listen, whether you're getting a $500 diamond or a $500,000 diamond, a diamond is, some people say, it's not a great monetary investment. Okay, they may have a point there, but the thing is, monetary investment or not, it's an investment in your life, because people buy diamonds to enjoy and make them happy. They look down on it. They want to see something that's going to make them smile. And when you're a guy getting engaged to a girl, here is something that represents your love and your passion for her. So listen, we can source diamonds based on your priorities. If your priority is price at the expense of cut quality, we can do that very easily. If you want a balance, something of, something more on a budget with really good optics and a good asset result, results or light performance results, we can do that. If you want the rarest, that's what I specialize in. My way of thinking is, if I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it for the one I love, let's put my best foot forward. All right? So I'm here to serve you guys no matter what level of service or quality you want. We are here to do it for you. All right, thanks for watching.